We've seen a lot of how people spend their free time and what issues the village has, but does anybody work in the village? Rushden is the most residential of the three villages, Thornfalken the most rural, and Henlade has the most industry because of the A358 and the presence of the old railway line and station. Located in the site of the old railway yard is the area's largest employer, Tarmac, who produce both structural concrete and road covering products. But many more are employed by smaller diverse enterprises in the parish, in businesses such as public houses, the Blackbrook Inn, the Nag's Head and the Rushden Inn, in the two hotels, the Mount Somerset and the Falcon Hotel, in the President's Country Club. There is a busy garage at Thornfalken and a car sales business at Rushden. Many are employed at Rushden Court Nursing Home, Bushy Cross Nursery and of course Rushden School. The three widely used shops in the parish, Hairlines, Henlade Post Office and Brookfield Farm Shop, are run by local people. Henlade Estate Gardens, Barnclose Nursery as well as the farm shop cater for the English obsession with gardening and plants. There are still working farms in the parish, 5 in Thornfalken and 3 in Henlade. It's Saturday evening now and we're off to the hall again to sit in on Russell Gomm's presentation of his Millennium Wildlife Survey. Russell takes up the story.
When I retired, it gave me the opportunity to spend a lot more time out and about in the countryside rather than sitting behind a desk and driving a car. And the Millennium provided a sort of spur to try and do something a little bit special with that time. And I suspect most of you know that I decided to try and compile a sort of doomsday book of the wildlife of the area in which I lived. A book listing the wildlife and the wildlife habitats of the area around my home as it is at the turn of the century. There were a number of reasons. I mean, it'd provide a baseline for looking at it in the future and various other things. I began the project in 1997 and I think now it is as complete as it'll ever be. The final product took the form of this written report, which probably some of you have seen. Written report there, complete with maps. We also produced a coloured wildlife poster. I think probably everybody should have had one of these. We sent out about 2,000, one to each household in the 3 parishes as a Millennium souvenir. If you didn't get one, there are a few here left now. Right, can I have the lights off in the first slide, please? At first sight, it doesn't appear to have a tremendous amount to offer in the way of wildlife. Man has modified this area very considerably over the years, and it contains a lot of our artifacts. We have a little bit of fen, not very much fen. Fen is a sort of marsh that's got filled in with trees, really. That's basically what it is. But this is the nearest thing that we've got to fen, and that's quite a nice habitat. And we have very, very little reed bed. This reed bed is probably the biggest one, and I think it's probably, I doubt if it's as big as this room, but it does support sedge warblers, reed warblers, water rail, reed bunting, that sort of thing. Now, does anybody know what this is? Anybody recognise that plant? It's herb Paris, which is an ancient woodland indicator. And as we actually found, I mean, there was an old record for this, and we were very, very fortunate in finding it. Paris quadrifolia, it's got 4 leaves, quadrifolia, 1, 2, 3, 4. Peculiar looking plant, a woodland plant, and that is an ancient woodland indicator. And you're fairly sure that if you find that, you are in woodland that has been woodland probably since medieval times. That was a really nice find. Next, please. This was probably the find that excited me the most. It is actually a wild daffodil. It isn't one that's been thrown over the hedge, or it isn't one that's escaped from a garden. The field that this grows in, there are 70 or 80 of these plants. And I wouldn't have known it was. I hoped it was. It was small and it looked like one. But I did take Simon Leach, who's a botanist that works for English Nature, out to look at it one morning, and we sat in a field surrounded with books and hand lenses and measuring tapes and so on, and he confirmed that it is. And so that is a really nice find. This is a tree called black poplar, which is a specialist of floodplains. Richard Mabey, in his Flora Britannica, I think, says there are probably only about 2,000 left in Britain, in the UK, which isn't very many if you think of it as plants. And I understand there are about 70 in Taunton Dean, and we've got about 20 of them in our 3 parishes. They really are a spectacular tree. This is a common blue, which is not common at all. We didn't find many localities for it at all, to be honest. I think we've found it in about 5 places, and the largest colony we found was probably 5 or 6 of these lovely little butterflies. They feed on bird's foot trefoil, a yellow plant in the pea family. And this is our extra special one. This is the white-legged damselfly, for obvious reasons. And this is a national rarity. And it's important enough for us to tell the Environment Agency where it is, and to try and influence them in their management of the riverbank and the cutting of the reeds, so that they don't cut the whole lot in one go, because this is a national rarity and is a really nice thing to have, the white-legged damselfly.